Hi, my name is Catherine Rogers, and this little guy is Vito Andolini Corleone, and this is Vito's Pet Family. And today we have one of our annual shows that we love doing, and we have a special guest that's just come over to see Vito, Harley Davidson, who is a little Siamese kitten. And we have Bob Weller, and we have Sharon, and I've just blanked on your last name, I'm sorry, Roy, here from the Cat Fanciers Association of America. And you have a cat show coming up.
Yes, we do. It's probably about our 28th annual, maybe.
Yeah, something
And
like
it's going to be first weekend in May, which is May 3rd and 4th at the Everett Arena.
And we have two guys here that have matching colors.
That's right.
I can't believe the kitten likes Vito this much. It's amazing to see them get along. But this shows you how agile all your cats are. They get along with everyone, right?
Exactly.
But it's at Everett Arena in Concord.
Yeah.
And it runs 2 days.
2 days, Saturday and Sunday, May 3rd and 4th. I want to say from roughly 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon.
And we're going to do a series of shows. Vito, in the past, has not been on the cat shows, but was getting quite upset because he wanted to come see all the cats. So we are going to do a series of shows, and we're going to answer a few questions we've got on the table here. What is a cat show? What will you see when you get there, and what can you do? And pretty much everybody can go. Vito, I don't think you'd be really welcome at the show, but we can show you the film later. So we're going to try to talk about all those things tonight, and Vito just wanted to stop in and say hello, but he's going to leave us because not all the cats are as friendly with Vito as Harley is. So I'm going to thank you, Vito, and you're going to exit stage right, I guess they could say here. And we're going to talk about cats. Thank you, Vito. Now, Bob, tell us a little bit. You have sponsors for the show also that you have every year that help out. And Harley,
That's
you don't want to go with Vito.
He wants to go see Vito. That's right.
He's get to go somewhere.
Yeah. We do. We have a main sponsor who's been kind to sponsor our show and several other CFA shows, and that's the Royal Canin family of cat foods and pet foods. And we've also got Nutro is sponsoring one of our rings, and one of the vets from down in Westford, Mass. It's Countryside Veterinary Hospital with Brian Holub is also probably sponsoring a ring.
Now, I remember last year that you mentioned the cat food company that's one of your main sponsors, that it was really interesting last year because people were stopping by the table and they would give you advice and help on if you had a particular dietary problem with your cat or something that they needed special food. I remember watching the woman, I was fascinated because she had all kinds of information, it had all kinds of packets of samples of different foods to try for the cats and so forth.
Yeah,
so it was really great.
The food sponsors will talk to you about what your particular cat's needs might be. There was a lot of concern last year because of all the various issues that
with the cat, the animal
with
food.
the
I know
bad
there
food
was
that was going along. So all the cat food companies were really helpful in trying to assure everybody that they had a safe food supply and that everything was going to be fine.
But just another example of what you'll see there and what you can do. You can find out if you have questions about your cat, even if you don't have a cat that maybe isn't a show, but you have questions about it. I was amazed at everybody's willingness to, not only the sponsors that helped with the show, but all the breeders. Love to talk about anything you needed to ask about.
Usually everybody's loved to tell you about their breed of cats. There's typically approximately somewhere between 200 and 250 exhibitors there with their cats.
Now, how many breeds? I know we've talked this about how many different breeds of cats are there?
About, I think right now, accepted in CFA, between breeds and varieties of breeds, about 38, 36
Wow.
to 38.
And how many different ones do you usually have at your cat? I know you have quite a few.
Probably 25 to 30, I would say, yeah.
So if you're thinking about buying a cat, a purebred cat, I mean, want to know about them, it's a great place to kind of get some information and check them all out.
Absolutely. That's the nice thing about the cat show is you can usually go and you can talk to the breeders. You can find out what's the particular characteristics of a breed. That's the whole idea of the interesting thing on a purebred cat or any purebred animal per se is that you're looking at a specific set of characteristics. And
I have a feeling our friend's going to leap here.
yep, he wants to find out where Vito went.
And one thing that's always interesting with the cats in the studio is they're very inquisitive, so they always have a lot of interest in everything that's going on around them. Now, tell us a little bit, what is the Seacoast Cat Club, which is actually, it's Cat Fanciers, but it's the Seacoast Cat Club, which is the sponsor of the show. Tell us a little bit about the club.
Seacoast Cat Club is one of 2 cat clubs that is affiliated with the Cat Fanciers Association in New Hampshire. Between them, they put on 3 shows each year. This is the second show,
Yeah, second
the middle of the 3. The
And where are the other two shows? I know you do one in the Manchester
The other ones are
area,
put
and
on
one-
by New Hampshire Felines, and one's in Dover in January, and the other's it's typically held in Bedford in the July timeframe.
Okay. So you've got the best time frame. You're right in the beginning of spring where it's warm, and although I know a few times at the cat show, it's been a little cool.
It's been a little cool, and it is the cat show goes actually from May 1st to April 30th, so it's actually the first show of the
Okay.
brand new season.
And now, I know that you get the breed champions and all-around cat champions, and this is one of those that's a registered, I don't know what the exact wording is, but it's a registered show. It's part of that nationwide circuit if people are showing their cats. And
Besides competing in the individual show, people can compete throughout the whole show season for end of the year regional and national awards, be it best of breeds or best cat and things of that nature.
Wow.
So.
Now, how many of you put the show together each year? I know that it was amazing having gone down a few years and watching how organized you all are. It looks like you have an army of hundreds that do this, but I'm sure it's not quite that big. But do you have a lot of people that work on the show?
I would say 25 to 30.
Yeah. Seacoast is fortunate that they have a really good core group of people that.
Well, you do a very impressive job, as I said. It's very interesting to watch. The other thing I find very interesting at the cat show is how much the judges and everyone is careful with hygiene. In that every time they handle a cat or change them, there's always the tables are washed down and their hands and so forth. So there's a great deal of emphasis on that, it's really fascinating to watch. Now, if someone wants to come down to the cat show, the admission is $6 for adults, $4 for children, and they can come in. Is it each day it would be that, or would they get one pass? If they came in Saturday and wanted to come back Sunday, would they have?
They could come back in.
They could come back
We'd
in.
find a way to get them in again on Sunday.
Wow, that's great. And how many people do you usually have that come to the cat show? You have good attendance generally, or?
Yeah, a couple thousand generally. Yeah.
Wow, a couple thousand. That's pretty impressive. Now we have a few other cats that we kind of wanted to do. One of the things we talked about the different breeds, so we wanted to do kind of a short parade of breeds with some of the different cats. I think we have
We have a Burman and a Tonkinese, I think, coming out. So we're going to show you a long hair and a short hair kitty.
Now, Bob, you actually breed Egyptian mouse.
That's right.
Correct? And Sharon, do you have a particular breed that you work with? Or?
We've worked with Tonkinese for a long time. And this is a Tonkinese. This is Taco. And he's about
gorgeous.
7 years old now.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what's the distinctions of this breed?
This breed was originally developed as a cross between a Siamese and a Burmese. So for a lot of people, they look like the Siamese of their childhood, you know, the old-fashioned Siamese.
They don't seem to have quite as long a face
Yeah, they don't
as
have long.
the
They
kitten
have-
we just saw, for instance.
This guy has aqua eyes. They're a blue-green. You want to show your eyes to those people, guys? They have a nice, medium, sturdy body. You know, they're not, they always have a little stop in their nose. They have an oriental, but the color of this guy is called champagne mink. And
Oh,
what it is, if you were to get a champagne mink coat, it would be in the same color.
really?
Yeah, natural mink. And the mink in actually Cat Fancy stands for that intermediate color between the Siamese, like you just saw, and if we had a Burmese here, he'd be darker. So it's kind of that intermediate color.
Now, when you judge the cats, one of the things I've noticed when they have them on the stand, they have the toys that we have here, and they have a few other things. There's a scratching post and such. What do you look for when you're judging the cats when they're up on the?
One of the things, every breed has a standard that's written, and you're looking to how close you think the breed fits, the cat you have in front of you fits the standard for that breed. One of the things with the toys, a lot of it is to relax the cat, to get the cat to show you its muscle tone. You get a chance to see just where the ears set, when they open their eyes up completely. You know, it's just kind of a tool to make the cat look better for the people.
Now, I know that in past years I've questioned is every cat that you breed, one that you can show if they're great show quality, but you said their personality is different, that you could have a cat that's perfect quality but is not really
They just
happy
don't
about
like the
going
show.
to the
Just
show.
Exactly.
don't like it.
And the only way
True.
you can tell that is the first couple times you take them. If they just turn into a horror, you figure,
Yeah.
well, this one's one that we're going to raise its babies maybe to show.
That's right. I mean, the first thing is it has to be fun for the cats. Because it's not going to be fun for anybody else if it isn't fun for the cats.
Now, do the cats enjoy, once they get into it, do they seem to like going to the shows and seeing all the other activity that's going on? It doesn't, I'm always amazed that they seem not to mind all the activity going around them. And
You know, the cats seem to enjoy going out with their owner, being the only cat. They seem to enjoy hotel rooms, a little extra treat they get when they stay in the hotel rooms. I think that's a big
And the
part of it.
hotels there are hotels around that let the animals in and
Yes.
they don't mind?
Yeah, and you know, most of the people take really good care. you know, a lot of times the cats will stay in a cage or a tent
Mm-hmm.
for the night for their own safety.
So they get
yeah.
treated like little divas, though, when
Yeah,
they go
they
to the
do.
shows?
They do. That's really what it is. They get treated like divas.
So that's their special time to bond with their
Yeah.
owners and have fun doing it. Now, is there any difference between male or female cats which show better, or does it really just, it's the separate cat's personality?
Yeah, it's the personality. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it makes a lot of difference.
Now, you've done some judging, haven't you?
A lot of
A
judging.
lot of judging. And how did you get into doing the judging? What moves you from being the breeder and showing the cat to judging?
You know, I don't know. I think it's just kind of a call. You know, there are people that's
Yeah.
when they go there, they say, you know what, I think I could do that, and I think I'd like to do that. And so you start to work. There's a lot of steps before they'll
That's what I was
actually
going to say. Is
take
there
you.
a training, kind of an internship
There
period?
is. You have to, right now, be a member of the Cat Fancy with a registered breeder for a minimum of 8 years.
Oh, wow.
You have to have produced a certain number of cats that have become grand champions, a certain number of cats that may have been regional winners. And then you start your training, but you'll start in only one specialty, whether it's the long-haired specialty.
That's what I was
or
wondering,
the
if you tend to have a specialty of which kind. that you
long hair or
breed.
short hair specialty, and then you move through. All told, once you get accepted after you do your training, all told to the time you go through and become an all-breed judge, it's probably about 4 or 5 years.
Really? Now, we have another cat that we wanted to show as
Yep.
well.
Yeah.
Now, is this is the Burmese, is this considered a short hair or a long?
This is considered a short hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what ones come into the long hair, because this one does have a little longer hair than
Yeah.
the Siamese would. So is it really long hairs? when
Really
they-
long hairs.
Okay. Now we have a star, as I remember, and this is a Tonkinese
This is a Burman,
Burman.
the sacred cat of Burma. Known, they're all pointed cats, which means that they have dark color on their face, their ears, but they all have white front feet and white back feet.
Now, is he considered long hair?
He's considered a long hair.
Now, this is David Ortiz,
This
correct?
is David Ortiz.
Who's named after one of our favorite baseball
Yeah,
players.
the Burman people have a little interesting thing where every year they go by the alphabet, and every year the cats born in that particular year have to have, and his year was a D year.
Oh, really?
So that's how come he became David Ortiz, because we needed a D name for
Oh
this
my
guy.
gosh! Now you said the sacred cat. Were they? I know that the Egyptian culture. We know we've always
Yeah.
heard a lot about the cats being sacred. Was Burma similar? That
Yeah, they actually used to be with the Tibetan monks,
really?
and the monks would wear their big coats, and they would sit in the sleeve of the cape that the monks would wear.
Oh my gosh! Now David Ortiz here has been shown a lot of times. He's won a number of times, hasn't he?
He
as I
has.
recall.
He's a grand premier. Yeah.
Now, to be Grand Premier? What do you have to do? What classifies a Grand Premier versus a?
A grand premier is a cat that, well, first of all, the premiership class is for cats that have been neutered or spayed.
Okay.
And the championship class is for cats that haven't been neutered or spayed. In the case of an altered cat, he has to have defeated 75 other premiers in order
Oh,
to become
wow.
a grand premier.
So he follows his namesake very well.
He
then.
does.
He's,
He hit a few home runs.
Yes,
yep.
it sounds like it. Well, thank you, David. It's nice. I know you were with us last year, and it's nice. I saw you at the cat show,
Yep.
and it's always good to see someone that has such a great name. Now, what we want to do is have Sharon leave us for just a few minutes, and we're going to have someone come in and talk to us a little bit about some of the things we'll see at the cat show as well. Okay, and now we have Pat Muse has joined us with, I'm going to let you
Shazam.
pronounce- Shazam, who's the number 4 in the country?
Number 4 Siamese in the country, yes.
And Pat has been showing, and you do basically Siamese, right? All different colors and
I
shades.
dabble in Cornish Rex.
Dabble. And the Cornish Rex is the hairless one, isn't it? Or-
No, it's the curly-coated one.
Okay, the curly coat. Okay, I knew it was one of the ones a little different. Tell us a little bit about the ribbons. We'll see at the show all kinds of ribbons. And,
Sure,
tell us a little
it
bit
can
about
be-
what they are.
It can be a little confusing when people walk in because it seems like every cat gets a whole bunch of ribbons, which sometimes does happen. We also hand out a guide at the entrance to people that'll explain to people what
What's
the
going
ribbons
on.
are. But let's say in the case of Shazam, this is a seal point Siamese, the judge will look at all the male seal point Siamese and decide which is his best male seal point, and at that point they would award him the blue ribbon. We'll just stick it on
Okay.
here like the judge were on a cage. If there were a second and third, then they would
The yellow
throw
and the red.
a
Okay.
yellow and a red, or red for second and a yellow for third. And then he'll do the same thing for the girl, for the female seal
Okay.
point Siamese. And then once he's finished judging say the seal points, he'll go and he'll hang the black ribbon for the best of color, for the best of the seal point Siamese.
So there'll
And
be
if there's-
either male or female, so the best
Yeah,
of those,
so
okay?
of all the ones that had the blue ribbon for being the best male or the best female, they would
Mm-hmm.
then choose which one was the best of color. And there's also a white ribbon for a second best
Second,
of color.
okay.
And then they would go and repeat the process for the other colors of the Siamese, the blue points, the lynx points, the
Chocolate.
chocolate points. And once they're finished, then they get the award that they're trying to find, and that'll be the brown ribbon, which would be for the best of breed.
Best of breed, okay.
And then they'll also hang a second best of breed.
Okay, and then there's some ribbons you see at the show, I guess you call them rosettes, that have, they're very
Mm-hmm.
fancy and have a little more folding ribbon around them. What do they do to get those? Do
Sure,
those-
I mean, it's, at the cat show, at our show, we have 7 different judges, and each judge is effectively its own, it's like a 3-ring circus. Each one is independent of the others, and they'll go through and they'll judge all their kittens, and then they'll call back and give these awards, and then
Yeah.
they'll call back their top 10, what they think are their 10 best kittens in show. And those
Okay, so like the best of the whole show, regardless of breed, they could be different breeds and such, okay.
Other ribbons that you'll see is that we also, if it's a titled cat in the adult classes, if it hasn't gotten a title yet and it gets a blue ribbon, it'll also get what's called a winner's ribbon.
Oh,
And
okay,
if it collects 6 winner's ribbons, then it gets the title of champion or premier.
okay.
And as Sharon explained earlier, then if it has the title of champion or premier, the judge can also then hang a purple ribbon on it for the best of the champions and best of the premiers.
Wow, so that's
And that
more
goes for getting the number of points it needs to become the
the
title of
national,
brand.
okay.
Then the other ribbon that we have is what's called a merit award, because we also have a household pet competition. And these
Right, I
are what
remember
the-
you have it that someone can bring in, if they have a cat that they think is particularly beautiful, they can bring it in on Saturday, correct? And
Yes, household pets at this show are going both days this
Oh,
year.
okay.
yes.
and if someone has interest in that, then they can go to your website, which we'll have at the end of the show, and go there and get information
And
about
get
how they could
information
go
about how
enter
to
their cat.
register.
So it's not just the purebreds, but it's also household cats that you bring in. And so many of the cats, if he's number 4 in the country, he probably has a number of ribbons that he's got there. Now, what do you do to get your cat ready for the show? I know when you see them at the show, they are all gorgeous and they are beautifully combed and clean and so forth, and I guess they're not always like that all the time.
No.
So what